Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're setting our sights on a truly special place, an island that feels both Italian and, well, something else entirely, Sardinia.
That's right. And we're not just dipping our toes in. We've put together a full 18-day itinerary. Perfect, we think, for a first-time visitor looking to really get under the skin of the island.
Exactly. We know a lot of you want to get up to speed quickly on potential travel spots, really understand them. So our mission today is pretty simple. We inspire you to consider Sardinia.
And give you the tools, the ideas, what to do, where to explore, what delicious things to eat to make that first trip unforgettable.
So let's paint a quick picture. Sardinia. It's the second biggest island in the Mediterranean, after Sicily. But forget the boot shape of mainland Italy. Sardinia is different, its own sprawling thing.
And sprawling is the word. It has this incredibly long coastline, nearly 2,000 kilometers.
Wow.
Yeah, which means beaches. Lots and lots of beaches. And the water, honestly, the shades of blue are just breathtaking, almost unreal.
But it's not just about the coast, is it? There's this deep, ancient history.
Oh, absolutely. It's fascinating. We're talking over 7,000 prehistoric sites dating back way before 1000 BC. Think Noraghi, these mysterious stone towers you see dotted around the landscape.
Right, I've seen pictures of those. What exactly were they? Do we know?
Well, that's the mystery. Research suggests they could have been defensive forts, religious sites, maybe even homes for chieftains or community hubs. Probably a mix of things, really. It points to a complex society way back then.
And here's something else amazing I read about the longevity. Some parts of Sardinia, especially inland, have some of the highest numbers of centenarians in the world.
It's true. Places like Villa Stricelli are famous for it. Makes you wonder, doesn't it? Is it the diet? The lifestyle? That famous Mediterranean diet, lots of local produce, maybe the Canada wine?
Or maybe just a less stressful pace of life, something we could all use a bit more of.
Definitely. And that's partly what this itinerary tries to capture. A balance. You see the highlights, the must-sees, but also get a feel for the unique Sardinian rhythm. Maybe uncover some less obvious gems.
Okay, I'm ready. Let's dive into this 18-day Sardinian adventure. Where do we start?
We kick things off in the south, in Cagliari for the first 4 days. Cagliari is the capital. It's got the main airport. It's a major port, so it's a logical starting point.
Makes sense. What's Cagliari like?
It's fantastic. It's a city with real layers. You absolutely have to explore the Castello district up on the hill. Think narrow, winding, cobblestone streets, ancient walls, amazing viewpoints looking out over the city and the bay.
Sounds atmospheric.
It really is. Then you have the other districts like Stampace, Marina, Villanova down below, each with its own character. Lots of cafes, shops, local life. And, of course, you need some beach time. Poeto Beach is right there in Cagliari.
Poeto, got it. Huge sandy stretch.
Yeah, it's massive, miles long, great for a walk, a swim, or just soaking up the sun. Very popular.
Okay, so Cagliari is the base. What about day trips from there?
Definitely. First one we recommend is Nora. It's only about a 40-minute drive southwest.
Nora. What's special about it?
It's an incredible archaeological site. Right on the coast, you see ruins from Phoenician times, then Carthaginian, Roman, even Byzantine. It just shows how important this spot was strategically for centuries.
Wow, layers of history right there.
Exactly. You can wander through the remains of a Roman theater, see the old thermal baths, mosaics. It's really evocative. They even have an app, the Nora app, which can guide you around.
Oh, handy. Good tip.
And right near Nora is the Bay of Chia, famous for its stunning beaches. So you can combine history in the morning with some serious beach relaxation in the afternoon.
Perfect combination. What's the other day trip from Cagliari?
We suggest heading east this time to Capo Carbonara. It's about an hour's drive.
Capo Carbonara. What's the draw there?
Views, mostly. You can do a short hike up to an old tower, Torre di Porto Giunco, and the panorama is just spectacular. Plus, there's a lagoon, Stadio Notary, where you often see pink flamingos.
Flamingos in Sardinia.
Yep. It's quite a sight. And the beach there, Spiaggi di Porto Giunco, is one of those classic Sardinian beaches, white sand, unbelievably turquoise water. Just gorgeous.
Okay, I'm sold on the south. What about food and drink down there? Anything specific to look out for?
Absolutely. For wine, you should definitely try Carignano. It's a robust red wine that really thrives in the southern climate. Full-bodied, great with local dishes.
Carignano, noted. And food, must be seafood, right?
Oh, for sure. Being in Cagliari, a port city, you'll find incredibly fresh seafood, lots of great restaurants, especially down in the Marina District. Just simple grilled fish or maybe some fregola with clams, a typical Sardinian pasta.
Sounds delicious. All right, 4 days in the south. Where to next?
Next, we head northwest for days 5 to 7. The destination is Alghero. It's a bit of a drive from Cagliari, maybe 3-4 hours depending on the route.
Okay. Is there anywhere good to stop along the way?
Definitely. We highly recommend stopping in Bosa. It's roughly on the way if you take the coastal route, maybe a slight detour.
Bosa, what's it like?
Oh, Bosa is charming. It's known for its really colorful houses lining the Timo River, the only navigable river in Sardinia, actually. And there's a castle, Castle Malaspina, overlooking the town.
Sounds picturesque. Worth a lunch stop.
Absolutely. Perfect place for lunch. Maybe wander along the river, grab a gelato. It breaks up the journey nicely, and it's just, well, lovely.
Nice. Okay, so on to Alghero. You called it a lovely seaside fortified town.
Yes, and it really lives up to that. It has these amazing intact sea walls, the ramparts that you can walk along. The historical center inside the walls is beautiful, covered streets, piazzas.
What are the highlights in the old town?
Well, just wandering is a highlight in itself, but you should see the cathedral, climb its bell tower for great views. There are lovely churches like St. Michael with its colorful tiled dome, and St. Barbara, which is apparently the oldest.
And didn't you mention something about a different language?
Ah, yes. This is fascinating. Alghero has strong historical ties to Catalonia, from when the Crown of Aragon ruled here. So you'll actually hear a Catalan dialect spoken by some older residents and see it on street signs alongside Italian.
Wow, that's unexpected. How else does that influence show?
You feel it in the atmosphere, maybe some architectural details, certain traditions. It gives Alghero a unique flavor, a bit different from the rest of Sardinia. You might even find some Catalan influences in the cuisine.
Interesting. What else is Alghero known for?
Red coral. It's famous for its red coral jewelry. You'll see lots of artisan shops selling beautiful pieces. There's even a coral museum if you want to learn more about the history and craft.
Okay. And beaches near Alghero.
Yep, you can walk along the Lungomare, the seaside promenade, to Lido San Giovanni Beach right near the town. And a must-do is watching the sunset from the ramparts. The views over the sea as the sun goes down are just magical.
Sounds perfect. What about excursions from Alghero?
The big one is Neptune's Caves, Grotte di Nettuno. They're spectacular sea caves at the base of the Capocaccia cliffs.
How do you get there?
Two main ways. You can take a boat trip from Alghero Harbor, which is great because you see the dramatic cliffs from the water. Or you can drive out to Capocaccia. But if you drive, be prepared for the Escala del Caberol, the goat's staircase. Hundreds of steps carved into the cliff face to get down to the cave entrance.
Wow, okay. Maybe the boat is easier.
Potentially less strenuous, yes. The caves themselves are stunning, though, full of stalactites and stalagmites. Really worth visiting.
In that Capocaccia area, is there more to do there?
Yes, the whole promontory is part of the Porticanta Regional Natural Park. Lots of hiking trails with amazing coastal views through that typical Mediterranean maquis shrubland. And there are other beaches nearby, like Portoferro, which has this distinctive reddish sand.
Okay. You mentioned Sardinia's ancient history before. Are there sites like the Nuraga near Alghero, too?
There are. Two significant ones are close by. Nuraga Pomavera is a really well-preserved complex with a central tower and surrounding village huts. You get a good sense of a Nuragic settlement.
And
The Necropoli di Angeluruju. This is a large prehistoric burial site with dozens of tombs known as domus Stygianus, or fairy houses, carved into the rock. It's quite atmospheric, wandering among these ancient tombs.
Fascinating. It really connects you to that distant past.
It does. These sites really show the sophistication of the Nuragic people who lived here thousands of years ago. Their engineering skills, their social organization, their beliefs. It's all hinted at in these remains.
Right. Let's talk wine again. Alghero region.
Okay, so near Alghero, look out for Cagnolari, which is a local red grape, often quite fresh and earthy, and Torbato, a really interesting white grape variety revived by the Sella e Mosca winery.
Sella e Mosca. Is that a place to visit?
Absolutely. It's one of Sardinia's largest and most famous wineries, located just outside Alghero. They offer tours and tastings. It's a great place to try different Sardinian wines, including their well-regarded Cannonau, even though it's more associated with other parts of the island.
Good tip. And food in Alghero. Still seafood focused.
Predominantly, yes. Lots of fresh fish and shellfish. Maybe look for dishes like spaghetti with sea urchin, if you're adventurous, or Alghero-style lobster, which sometimes has Catalan influences in its preparation.
Sounds like a great few days in the Northwest. Where does the itinerary take us next?
We head north, towards the very top of the island, for days 8 to 10. The base will be Palau.
Palau. How's the drive from Alghero?
It's scenic. Take you across the northern part of the island. Maybe allow 2 to 3 hours. Palau itself is a bustling resort town, quite popular in summer. But its main draw is its location,
Where's that?
because it's the gateway to the La Maddalena archipelago.
Ah, right. This is supposed to be absolutely stunning, isn't it? The watercolors.
Unbelievable, truly. A boat tour of the archipelago, usually departing from Palau, is an absolute highlight of any trip to Sardinia. It's a must-do.
What do you see on the tour?
You cruise between these gorgeous granite islands.
Budelli, Santa Maria, Spargi, Rizzoli are some of the main ones. You'll stop in secluded coves for swimming and snorkeling in this incredibly clear turquoise water. Budelli is famous for its pink beach, though access is restricted now to protect it.
Why is the water so clear there? Is there a reason?
It's a combination of things, really. The granite seabed helps filter the water. There's relatively little pollution because much of it is a protected national park. And the currents keep things clean. Plus, maybe some types of algae contribute to those amazing colors. It's just pristine.
Sounds like paradise. Anything else to explore around Palau?
Yes, if you have time, it's worth driving a little further west to Capo Testa, near Santa Teresa di Gallura.
Capo Testa.
It's this amazing headland with these giant, wind-sculpted granite rocks. They look like sculptures. Great place for scrambling around, hiking, and just admiring the bizarre shapes and the views across to Corsica.
Cool. Anything else near Palau itself?
You can visit La Fortezza di Monte Altura. It's a massive 19th century fortress built overlooking the strait between Sardinia and Corsica.
Right.
Impressive structure, and again, incredible views. They usually offer guided tours which explain its history.
Okay. And food and drink in Palau and the north? Still seafood.
Definitely still a strong focus on seafood given location. For wine, this area, Gallura, is famous for Vermentino. Vermentino di Gallura DOCG is considered one of Italy's finest white wines. It's crisp, aromatic, often with notes of citrus and herbs, perfect with seafood.
Vermentino. Got it. Okay, we're past the halfway mark. Where to for days 11 to 14?
Now we head down the east coast to Calaganone. You'll probably drive via Olbia, which is another main town, and port on the northeast coast.
Calaganone, what's the focus there?
Calaganone is the base for exploring the Gulf of Orosei. And this stretch of coastline is arguably one of the most dramatic and beautiful in the entire Mediterranean.
High praise. Is it accessible by car?
Calaganone town itself is, yes. But the most famous beaches and coves along the Gulf of Orosei are mostly accessible only by boat or by some quite challenging hiking trails.
Okay, so another boat trip is essential here.
Absolutely essential, I'd say. The boat trips from Calaganone take you down the coast, stopping at legendary beaches like Cala Luna, Cala Cecine, Cala Mariolu, Cala Galuzza. Each one is stunning in its own way. Sheer limestone cliffs dropping into turquoise water, hidden caves. It's breathtaking.
Cala Golaritze. Isn't that the one with the rock arch?
That's the one, with a tall rock pinnacle, too. It's a national monument, incredibly beautiful. You can hike there, too, but it's a tough trek. The boat trip lets you see several of these gems in one day.
Sounds amazing.
Yeah.
What about activities besides the boat trip? Hiking.
Oh, yes. The Calaganone area is fantastic for hiking. The most famous hike, maybe infamous, is Gola Sugurupu.
Gola Sugurupu, what is it?
It's often called Europe's deepest canyon. Huge limestone walls over 500 meters high in places. Hiking into the canyon is an incredible experience, quite challenging depending on how far you go. You feel tiny, surrounded by these immense rock faces.
Wow. Definitely for the adventurous, then.
Yes, there are different routes and levels of difficulty, but it's a serious undertaking. There are easier hikes along the coast, too, maybe to Cala Luna, for example, though still requires decent fitness.
Okay. What about exploring inland from Calaganone? You mentioned the Barbagia region earlier.
Exactly. Calaganone is on the edge of the Barbagia, the mountainous interior of Sardinia. Taking a drive inland offers a completely different perspective. This is the heartland of traditional Sardinian culture.
How so?
You'll find villages where Sardo, the Sardinian language, is still commonly spoken. You see older traditions, unique crafts. It feels a world away from the coastal resorts. A really interesting town to visit is Orgosolo.
Orgosolo, why is that?
It's famous for its murals. Political murals, social commentary, painted all over the walls of the houses. It's like an open-air art gallery. Really thought-provoking. Just wandering the streets is fascinating.
That sounds unique. Is there a good time to visit Barbagia?
Well, any time is interesting, but if you happen to be there in the autumn, many towns participate in a festival called Autunno in Barbagia, also known as Cortes Apertas. They open up their historic courtyards, showcase local crafts, food, wine. It's a great way to experience the local culture.
Good to know. Food around Calaganone and the Gulf of Orosei. Still seafood.
Lots of excellent seafood, yes.
Yeah.
But as you get closer to the interior, you might start seeing more meat dishes, too. For wine, A nice local option is Monica di Sardegna, often an easy-drinking, fruity red that actually pairs surprisingly well with some richer fish dishes too.
Monica. Okay, so we've covered the south, northwest, north, and the east coast Gulf. What about the final stretch, days 15 to 18?
The last few days involve making our way back south towards Cagliari for departure, but taking the scenic route down the east coast. The SS-125 road, particularly certain stretches, is known for being incredibly panoramic.
SS-125, so a driving day with stops.
Exactly. A key stop we recommend is Arbatax.
Arbatax, what's there?
It's famous for its Rossa the Red Rocks. These are striking red porphyry rocks right by the harbor, really unusual and photogenic. There's also an old Spanish watchtower, the San Gimignano Tower, and of course, being a port town, it's another great place for a fresh seafood lunch.
Nice. So enjoy Arbatax, then continue south on the SS-125.
That's the plan. Just enjoy the drive, the changing landscapes as you head south. Eventually, you'll loop back towards Cagliari. Remember, Cagliari has the international airport, so it makes sense to end up back there.
And if there's time on the last day before flying out?
Depending on your flight schedule, you could maybe squeeze in one last visit to a beach on the southern coast, perhaps near where you started, like Chia, or back towards Villasimius, near Capo Carbonara, a final dose of that Mediterranean blue.
Sounds like a good way to wrap things up. Now, throughout this journey, especially maybe inland or along the east coast, are there any absolute must-try Sardinian dishes we haven't mentioned?
Ah, yes. If you see porcedu on the menu, especially inland, you should consider trying it. It's slow-roasted suckling pig, a real Sardinian specialty.
Yeah.
Very tender, very flavorful.
Porcedu? Okay, what else?
You absolutely have to try pain carousel. It's that super thin, crispy flatbread, sometimes called music paper bread. It's served with almost every meal. Delicious on its own, or with cheese or olive oil.
Pain carousel? I think I've heard of that. Anything unusual?
Well, there's the famous, or perhaps infamous, casu marzu.
Oh, right. The cheese with
The live maggots, yes.
Yeah.
It's a traditional sheep's milk cheese known for its fermentation process involving cheese fly larvae. It's definitely controversial, and its legality is complex. You probably won't find it easily in restaurants. It's more of a local delicacy. For the very adventurous palate only, perhaps.
Right. Maybe I'll stick to the porcedu and pain carousel. Okay, so reflecting on this whole 18-day journey, what are the big takeaways for someone listening thinking about their first Sardinian trip?
I think the main thing is that Sardinia really offers a unique Italian experience. It's Italy, but it's also distinctly Sardinian. You get the stunning beaches, yes, but also this incredible depth of history, a unique culture, really diverse landscapes from coast to mountains.
Yeah, it's not just one thing.
Not at all. Expect those aha moments, discovering things you didn't expect. Also, a practical point we should reiterate, no toll roads.
That's a big plus for a driving holiday. Makes exploring much easier and cheaper.
Definitely. And just appreciating that long history, the Nuragic civilization, Phoenicians, Romans, Byzantines, Spanish,
Wow.
they all left their mark. You feel those layers as you travel around.
They may be trying a few words of Sargo.
They can go a long way. Even just a buongiorno or gracias, though it's gracias in Sardo, not grati. Showing that little bit of effort is always appreciated and enriches your interaction.
Good point. Any other specific experiences we should highlight again?
We mentioned Carnival, especially inland, which is a really unique time to visit if your trip lines up, usually February. Those ancient, sometimes quite dark and mysterious celebrations are fascinating.
Right, very different from Venice Carnival.
Very different. And of course, those boat trips. Seriously, whether it's La Maddalena, the Gulf of Orosei, or even exploring the southern coast near Tulata, getting out on the water gives you a perspective on Sardinia's beauty that you just can't get from land.
Absolutely. Well, this has been fantastic. I feel like I've already traveled there.
We really hope this deep dive has done its job, sparked some real interest, and shown just how much Sardinia has to offer for a first-time visitor. It's an incredibly rewarding destination.
It certainly sounds like it. So, maybe a final thought for our listeners to ponder.
How about this? Sardinia is this fascinating blend of ancient mysteries, like the Nuraghi, set against stunning natural beauty, with a pace of life that might actually contribute to people living longer. So the question is, what untold stories, what personal discoveries might you uncover on this enchanting island?
A perfect thought to end on. We really encourage you to look more into Sardinia and maybe start sketching out your own adventure. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.